What's up? My name is Eric Butler. This channel is called Pr0n Opine. I am back. And from USA Today, WHO confirms Marburg virus outbreak in Equatorial Guinea. What to know about the viral disease. So it's February 2023 and they're just going to run it all back. We're going to do it again. They're going to sell it to us again. They're going to reboot a different virus and eventually try to sell you on some pharmaceutical or at least a test. Or if nothing else, if you don't buy anything, if you don't become a customer, at least you will be scared and they will have control of you to the point where you won't be able to make any decisions without consulting the fake news media first. But they say from Dakar, Senegal, the World Health Organization, who of course, no pun intended, cannot be trusted, the WHO, the CDC, the FDA, Fauci, Walensky, even the FBI, none of these people can be trusted. It's almost become comical how much they lie, cheat, and manipulate, all to gain control and, of course, make a little money by way of control through fear. Something like that. The World Health Organization says that Equatorial Guinea has confirmed its first ever outbreak of Marburg disease, saying the Ebola-related virus is responsible for at least 9 deaths in the tiny Western African country. In a statement on Monday, the UN Health Agency, so we have the World Health Organization and the UN Health Agency, so these are all just useless bureaucracies, overpaid people who are sitting in a room somewhere trying to make rules to gain control over everybody, and it's all complete nonsense. I can't imagine, I truly don't believe really anybody, any singular person is buying this. We might think that these entire groups of people, they put this out in USA Today, one of the most mainstream publications in the country, and think that people are all buying it. But when you go out and talk to people at the grocery store, if you go to the mall or a tennis court or a golf course or anything, I'm almost certain nobody is buying this anymore. It's absolute insanity. In a statement on Monday, the UN Health Agency confirmed the epidemic after samples from Equatorial Guinea were sent to a lab in Senegal to pinpoint the cause of disease after an alert from a local health official last week. So, not to take anything away from human life, but 9 deaths in a tiny African country somehow amount to an epidemic. The WHO said there were currently 9 deaths and 16 suspected cases. So we've heard this before. Way back in summer of 2020, before you were allowed to go outside and protest for racism, we were told that they were, suspected cases and people, you could fall off a ladder, but if you tested positive, that's a Rona death. You could have a motorcycle accident, but if you tested positive, that's a Rona death. And they're just going to do it all over again. And even with these suspected cases, there's only 16. With symptoms including fever, fatigue, diarrhea, and vomiting. Okay, so a little bit of diarrhea, a nice callback to the great toilet paper scare of 2020 that never made sense to me at all. I think most people laugh about it now, but there were people literally fighting in grocery stores over toilet paper. It was ridiculous, to say the least. The agency said it was sending medical experts. Oh, the experts are here again. They strike again. They're flip-flopping all the time. We're always told to follow the science and that the science involves. But then Rochelle Walensky recently said that regulations don't change with time, so it's all absolute nonsense. These people are despicable. They're incredibly power-hungry and just greedy. They're sending medical experts to help officials in Equatorial Guinea stop the outbreak of 9 people or 16 suspected cases, and also sending protective equipment for hundreds of workers. And the protective equipment is also a big scam too, right? Like Gavin Newsom making Chinese mask deals. I think Cuomo did something similar because they do, of course, read from the exact same playbook, obviously, all the way through the entire virus. Cuomo at the time and Newsom did basically every single thing the same, almost down to the day. You can check the stats on that. Fact check me on that. From the day they brought the hospital ships that weren't used to the day the hospital ships left, to the day they declared emergencies, to the day they declared mandates for the jab, all that stuff, all the same. What is Marburg? Like Ebola, the Marburg virus originates in bats and spreads between people via close contact with bodily fluids of infected people or surfaces like contaminated bedsheets. So here we are They're literally doing the exact same thing. Remember the whole story about a bat at a wet market and memes of bat soup and all this stuff? They're literally just doing the exact same thing all over again. And I don't know. I genuinely don't know what's going through their head that they think people are going to buy this. The guy writing this, whoever wrote this, can't really be thinking, oh, people are going to eat this up and we're going to do it all over again. No, they know that it is more important for them to answer to the powers that be, wherever these talking points are coming down from, that they are much more important than anything in the realm of delivering real news to Americans. Marburg virus is a zoonotic virus along with 6 species of Ebola virus. Comprises the filovirus family, the CDC said. So the CDC, the WHO, the UN Health Agency, all of these people are tag teaming this. All of these 3-letter agencies that are completely corrupted. They're not helping the public at all. They're only lying in their pockets by, of course, instilling fear into everybody to control them. That's all that's happening. It's blatantly obvious. I truly don't understand how anybody in their, I guess that's the catch there, anybody in their right mind. So if you're not in your right mind, you might still actually buy this. But I truly do think that the quadruple boosted 2 mask, everybody knows. They might hesitate in actually admitting it because it's embarrassing to admit that you've been duped, but everybody knows this is all complete nonsense by now. The rare virus was first identified in 1967 after it caused simultaneous outbreaks of disease in laboratories in Marburg, Germany, and Belgrade, according to the CDC. So they are also naming it after this place in Germany. That's okay. You can't say Chinese coronavirus. You can't even say monkeypox because somehow that was racist. That's a completely different story. When they name things, it's okay. But when it has an old traditional name from something in the 1800s, it was named after the city it came from, if that class, and it's weird too because with China and Asians overall, right, it's like sometimes they're on the woke side, sometimes they're classified as white people and they get no respect. So it's really weird. Obviously, the bottom line for all of it is just to obey. No matter what we say, obey it, whether it's climate change, whether it's extreme gender ideology, whether it's these viruses, all this stuff they're lobbing on us. And they saw that it worked. It worked really good for the first year, so they have to get all the meat off the bone, right? As far as I'm concerned. 31 people who were exposed to the virus while conducting research on monkeys, of course, call back to the monkeys, became ill and 7 died, according to the CDC. The CDC, this is an absolute joke. African fruit bats are the reservoir hosts of the virus. So there you have it. This really is like Hollywood nonsense where they're remaking the same movies over and over again, right? Every 5 to 10 years, they just produce the same movie with a different actor for a new generation. And that's exactly what they're doing here as far as I can tell. Marburg virus disease symptoms. So we're also told that Rona was nothing like the flu or Rona was nothing like the cold, and then you read the symptoms and it's basically the same thing as a common cold. But let's see what they say. The incubation period for the disease is anywhere from 2 days to 3 weeks, according to the WHO. So according to the CDC, according to the WHO, just remember, you're not a doctor, you're not a scientist, so you can't weigh in on this. You're unqualified. Symptoms begin abruptly. This is a joke. With an intense fever and headache, according to the WHO. A few days after the onset, many patients experience vomiting, diarrhea, and stomach pain. Okay, so there's a callback to the toilet paper run of 2020. Severe cases are accompanied by bleeding within the first week, according to WHO. Some patients vomit blood. This is terrible. Of course, it sounds disgusting. The disease can spread to the nervous system, causing patients to become confused, irritable, and aggressive. Who is this for, right? Is this for the people who already have 4 or 5 shots and they just are yearning for more? Because this isn't changing anybody's mind. The people who saw through it or the people who didn't see through it and eventually could tell it was all nonsense, they're not going back. The people who saw it the whole time, they're not switching sides. So this is for the very few people who are still going to pick up and eat every little dropping that these weirdos lay down. Most fatal cases last just over a week. WHO said, adding that deaths are typically accompanied by severe blood loss and shock. Marburg virus treatment. Okay, so here we go. There's no cure or specific treatment for Marburg disease, the CDC said. So the CDC said, the WHO said, every sentence, yikes, we get it. Still, quote, early supportive care with rehydration and symptomatic treatment improves survival. Okay, so stay hydrated. Which added that the range of drug and blood therapies to treat the disease were under development. So there you have it. We are going to eventually come up with a solution to the problem that we just created for you because 9 people in a weird West African country came down with something. They're doing it all kind of backwards, or I guess it's backwards to us, but it makes sense to them. It's very similar to what I would compare it to is how a company will they will create a movie to sell a toy to children. So they already have the product, they already have the toy, but they got to figure out a way to sell it. So they come out with a movie. And this is the same thing. So they already have a product to sell, which is a pharmaceutical or which is a test. You know what I mean? Because these tests, by the way, have become their own industry. They've created this entire new industry. So they have Rona tests as impulse purchase items at the grocery store. So when you buy you're getting your groceries and you pick up a Snickers and a pack of gum, you can also just pick up a Rona test. So they have the product that they want to sell to you, whether it's the pharmaceutical or whether it's the test, and then they have to come up with this entire narrative, this entire Hollywood movie-like story to sell you the product. So this is absolutely insane. If anybody is still buying this, I certainly got 3 bridges in Brooklyn to sell you. That'll do it for me. Thank you for watching. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe.